What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another ideas video. I know I said I'd do this once a week, and last time I did this was September 1st, but we're back, and I just, I gotta be honest with you. I took a break, but I'm back, and I got some ideas. I'm actually gonna take ideas strictly from comments. I don't feel like I have much personal input for this video. I do have some ideas, and I actually do have a list on a notepad of what I want to talk about, but I feel like this one specifically is the second episode to the series. I want one ideas video to be my input, and then I want another video to be community, and then another one mine, another one community, unless I decide to switch it. But that's just I feel like we can get our words out there together as a family. So if you guys like these videos, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for you. The more likes we get, the more popular this video gets, and the more likely VCaffey will see this video. And VCaffey, listen to the community. Now, I play this game a lot, and this series is pretty much based upon me giving my thoughts and ideas that I personally would like to see in Dungeon Quest as a frequent player that plays the game every single day. I have these ideas, and I also like to pick and choose people in my comment section and stuff like that about their ideas, and choose the ones that I think would actually work in the game. There are some great ideas out there, but there's some ideas that I personally just don't think would work really well in the game, so these are just kind of ones I'm thinking about. So if we go down to the very first video that I've ever made on the ideas series, which was the only one before this, the first comment that has the most likes is from Cactus. That says, daily quest. Every day you do quests for gold, cosmetics, and items. I personally really like this. It doesn't really have to be daily quests, but I do think that there should be some sort of quest system. It gives people more reason to go back and do certain dungeons. I mean, once you're done a dungeon, you never kind of want to go back to it. So maybe if you have daily quests that are like, maybe go to Underworld and you have to kill the Underworld mobs a certain amount of time, and you get a certain amount of gold, you can get certain items. Maybe there's certain items that you can get from quests that you can't actually get in normal dungeons, stuff like that. This would make a very good way for people to continue playing every single day, especially if it was daily quests. But daily quests are a little bit tough to do in a way, unless you make a certain amount of them and just kind of randomly generate it every single day. But daily quest is something that I really do like. I actually love this comment. I would love to see Dungeon Quest actually put this into the game, because instead of just grinding for new items and when I'm done the game, it gives me something else I can do when I'm done, and it gives me a reason to kind of play Dungeon Quest every day. So Cactus, that was a fantastic comment, and I really do wish that this was in the game. Personally, I don't really know exactly what it should give you, only due to the fact that I don't see a reason really why gold would really be that big. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but for the higher players, it doesn't really mean too much. Gold is gold. It's really easy to get. But daily quest is something that I do like, and I do think that it should be into the game. And I'm kind of surprised it's not in the game. So first idea, I definitely give my thumbs up. Second comment that has the most likes on that video also says a play again button at the end of a dungeon. Yes, I can't stress this enough, but it is very irritating when you're trying to play a dungeon so many times, but you have to keep teleporting back to the main lobby and then going back into the dungeon over and over again. I really wish that there was a play again button at the end of the dungeon that you could press when you were done, and it would just automatically put you in the same dungeon again, same, hardcore, whatever it was. And a really good way for people to play with friends. So like, let's just say that at the end of the dungeon, there's a play again button, and if you click it, it check marks your name. And if you're playing with multiple people, whoever presses play again will check mark, and everybody who's check marked will come into you with the next dungeon. A play again button would save a lot of time, especially when your game is completely about grinding and repetitiveness. It just makes it a little bit simpler for us, and it makes it easier for us. So yes, I do really like this idea. Now, there's this one comment that I specifically seen on that video, that he has a certain amount of ideas, which I will name them off, but I won't get into detail. I'll only get into detail about a couple of them. But he says puzzles, multiple phases, secret chests or crates, quests, and a possible storyline. I really do like all of these ideas, by the way, but I really like the multiple phase one. I really like the multiple phase one, and I also like the storyline one. The multiple phase one is nice because there are kind of stages to bosses, but they don't really change up anything, and it would be kind of cool to get a boss to about halfway health, and then after that halfway point, they end up switching to something. They look different, and their moves change. I think it just adds a little bit more variety. I don't really think it's that big of a deal, and it doesn't really matter. I just think multiple phases would be really, really interesting. Quest we had already spoke about, and possible storyline. Now this is something that would be super, super cool. He goes into detail saying that almost like a quest. So King's Castle, and you have to go find the King's lost necklace. He thinks that he dropped it behind the hay carriage. Can you go get it for me? I super like that, but I think that more involves with quests in that way, and I can see that one being just a random quest that you get when you're on King's Castle, for example. But an actual storyline I think would be really cool. In the lobby, there's big buildings, there's big doors, and there's a lot of secrets and little kind of things that you can find here and there, and they don't really mean anything. The Excalibur sword is also another huge thing. The Excalibur sword doesn't really have any backstory to it. It's just there, and we're hoping it's just going to be a cosmetic, but that's about it. There's nothing different about it. But where did the Excalibur sword come from? Maybe if there's just a little bit more story to the game. Maybe add cutscenes, maybe add NPCs that do talk. Maybe when you finish a dungeon, it kind of changes it up. This would be a little bit hard to do since we're already so far into the game, and it just wouldn't really make too much sense for us players who've been playing for a long time. But a storyline would be really cool if Dungeon Quest ever did a big overhaul over the game. So yeah, I do really like that idea. The multiple phases one is really cool. I just think that would be interesting to see. And the possible storyline is something that is extremely valuable, and I think it would change how we see Dungeon Quest, because there's not really a story, there's just things and we all just know who they are. I think it would just make it more engaging. It's not mandatory and it's not anything big, but these ideas more are just kind of bonuses and would make, I think, Dungeon Quest a little bit more interesting. Now, I actually wasn't going to talk about it, but now I actually kind of do. When TGX, which is the guy that made the comment about the possible storyline and the multiple phases, he also states puzzles. This is something that I'm really surprised that dungeons don't have. It's very straightforward and it's very linear, but puzzles would make it really, really cool. Like, let's just say in King's Castle, the only way that you could actually get into the drawbridge is you had to go find the switch for it. So you had to go find a switch, you had to press on that switch, and the door actually opens so you can get into the castle. Or make it that you have to find a certain button to deal damage to bosses, or something that makes it so you can parkour over certain gaps, which he also speaks into the comment. I think this would make dungeons more fun rather than making it very linear. All you do is you go in, you run, and you kill things. There's nothing else to it. This would make it so there's more interesting reasons to kind of go into a dungeon, and you're looking for more than just mobs. And you could also randomly generate it, so, you know, a button would spawn in certain areas or whatever. The only thing I could really say about this one is I think it could make dungeons a little bit less easier to grind because you're now looking for something. But I think that's also just an interesting take on dungeons, and it allows a little bit more variety in the game. So super cool idea. I do like that one. So those are the ideas I personally chose out of my comment section and that had the most likes on my comment section in the first video that I would like to see in Dungeon Quest. None of them are really mandatory. However, I do think that the play again button and the daily quest or quests should be added. I think those ones are guaranteed ideas I do want to see in Dungeon Quest. It makes it a little bit more easier for us, and it also gives us something else to do. As much as I love Dungeon Quest, I do have to say it does get very boring and very repetitive because there's just nothing to do. You do the same thing over and over again. So quests, highly recommend to add that into the game. And play again button just makes our lives so much easier. Fikafi, please. In this episode, I want to talk about a dungeon. I think an underwater or like an ocean-esque type dungeon would be super cool. Yes, we have Ghastly Harbor, but it's not more or less underwater. You're still above water and stuff like that, but an underwater type oceanic Atlantic type dungeon would be super cool. So mobs could be like fish, and mobs could also be very like sharky and have these giant tridents and stuff like that. It would be a little bit hard to do because we do have Ghastly. It kind of has items like that already in the game, but to make it more, I guess, experience and more vivid would be to actually put you under the water, make it look like you're, you know, swimming or bubbles around and you're under this tubular water or this Atlantic, and underwater would just be super cool. You could have so many ideas and coral, and it looks super pretty. So I would really like to see an underwater dungeon. But yeah, this is my second episode to the ideas series. Again, I'm not super good at figuring out how I want to do these series specifically yet, but I do like how I'm doing it, and and I just want to get community thoughts out there. As much as I don't really edit these videos as much as the other ones, I just like putting my thoughts out there, and I want to use my platform to push out ideas, and hopefully VCafe or any of them take a quick peek, and maybe VCafe can kind of see what his community wants and could maybe add it, could maybe not. Maybe it's just something that we could talk about and all dream of. Make sure to leave a like. Again, the more likes this get, the more it gets exposed and more people can kind of see these new ideas and certain things that I know that we all want into the game. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, Girl Scout.